we're rolling. Speed.
Hi.
Hey everyone. It's Exo Man and Farm Girl here, and we. Oh, look! That feels so good.
Wow, that was perfect. So I guess you're supposed to wait until they turn yellow?
I don't know. I usually wait till they start to rot.
It sits in the fridge for, I don't know.
Well, no, this one has sat out on the counter.
Yeah.
That's
why it turned yellow and didn't stay.
Yeah.
green.
Now see there, I get a little rot spot. We're gonna talk about building inspection, building inspectors. Just have a little to offer on that. There, that rot is gone. So, what precipitated this?
We were talking about the neighbor over there.
Yeah, something came up this morning, and we started talking about building inspections. And I said, you know, everybody gets a different feeling. Some of you are building inspectors, and I'm hoping you guys will chime in. But read the comments below, read the description below, and read the comments below for more information. A lot of people don't read the descriptions, and that's where you'll find vital information that people forgot to include in their videos. But so I brought up something that involved a building inspector, and I said, you know, we should talk about that because there's a lot of information there. I've never been a building.
I don't know anything about it.
Okay, good. Well, then you know, yeah.
I'm just here.
I know that you didn't know anything, and I asked you to just hang out with me today. So the thing is, when you say building inspector, I think to a lot of guys, especially guys who've had houses built or built their own houses, it's like saying cops, you know?
Yeah, I was just going to say, I know about this. People don't want the building inspecors to come by when they're building something that they haven't gotten
exactly, and that brings me to the point which I was going to make eventually, is building inspectors are people, just like they say, you know, actors are just people, famous people are just people. Some of them are a-holes, and some of them are nice people like you and I. Just it's not a. I don't think it's a line of work that draws a certain kind of I think it draws like engineer kind of guys, ex-contractors and builders and etc. that just want a cushy, you know.
Yeah, the inspectors that come into the spa, everybody's always so nervous, and then they get there and they're so nice.
You're talking about people that are health inspectors,
right?
Okay, so you can make this case for all kinds of inspection, but I'm specifically talking about building inspectors. And I've got a couple of anecdotal things to talk about. And so here's a good story. You know, my point is, love them or hate them, they're necessary, they're vital. And just like cops, foolish people regard cops foolishly, right? Cops are the bad guys.
Yeah.
Just a blanket
thought. Those are usually people that are not
they're not doing the right thing.
Right.
Yeah. And so you might differ with it. It might vary with age. You know, you might, as a young man, you know, you're trying to get your first home together. You might loathe these guys and gals. And then as you get older, you might want these guys and gals to keep your neighbors in check, right? So you gotta give them their due. And so we've needed them sometimes and not like them.
And you want things built correctly.
Exactly. You don't want to stand on a porch that falls and kills you or your child or something like that.
Some regulations are ridiculous, but
so suffice it to say they are necessary. Now let me tell you a story that a friend, a neighbor told me. He said, you know, that guy next door, that guy in the neighborhood is a real ass, you know, and but there's a guy in the neighborhood that people don't generally care for. But he said, he called the building inspector on me, and he said, but the jerk, the guy that people don't like, he said, but he did me a huge favor. And I said, how's that? He said, well, I was building, I had my guy framing up a shed. And he said, that guy called the building inspector on me because it was kind of near the property line, and he just wanted to he was just being
Well, he just didn't want that right there.
An over-participating neighbor. Yeah, he kind of got the same thing in the end anyway, but he's just one of those control freaks. So, long story short, my neighbor who was telling me the story was building, I forgot a spoon, was building on a, do you know what this fruit is?
I'm going to get you one.
Papaya, not mango. What are you going to get me?
A spoon.
And
it's really good for your digestion.
Thank you. Yeah, it's got a lot of good digestive enzymes in it. So the guy is framing this thing, and he's digging post holes, I assume. He said he was building it as a permanent structure. And the inspector shows up, and he says, hey, you got to stop what you're doing there. He's like, okay. He said, and I'm not so sure you would want to do that anyway. Let me touch this here. I'm not sure you would want to do that anyway. Well, why is that? He said, well, you're building right over your septic field. And if you ain't from around here and you've never had a septic field, you got to know
you can't build on your septic
you can't build on your septic field. It's a drain field. So if you don't have municipal plumbing for your drain, sewage. How do you say that word? Sewage. If you don't have that, your alternative is to have a septic tank. Water from your shower or your poopy water goes down the pipe out from under your house into a tank that's buried in the ground. I know most of you know this. And then from that tank, when that tank level starts to rise, there are drain holes. And it goes through those holes, usually into a second tank, which holds your distribution box, or that's your distribution tank. But by the time that water gets into there, it's already broken down. And then when that tank rises up, it goes through the next hole and out that pipe into your drain field. So if you have ever had a drain field, you know you don't want to plant trees over them. I just had to cut down some gorgeous Bradford pears at a home that I built because there was a they planted trees right on the septic lines. And they flourished. So anyway, there you go. There's a case where the building inspector saved somebody's ass. Pardon me, am I interfering? Am I a bother?
Destin's showing me her blueberry lemon coffee that looks so amazing.
That kid, she's way too hip.
I want that.
She just got us into chocolate mint tea. So I've got some mint over there that we've been growing that we got when we visited our daughter in Charlotte. We went to a garden place and bought this mint.
Oh, it was so cool. The
Where was I?
The rose garden.
Where was I? So,
oh, sorry.
You love them, you hate them. They're necessary, people. These guys are, again, sometimes they can save your butt. Do the right thing, because you don't want to be doing some wiring that's going to electrocute somebody down the road. You don't want to be doing some building that's going to injure or kill somebody down the road. So just be positive about it. And I've had these building inspectors that were a-holes. I mean, jerks.
But it's that way in any industry.
Exactly.
Right?
That's my point. And if you're a building inspector and you're watching this, I know I'm not going to change you if you're a jerk, but keep in mind that you ruin it. You give the profession a bad name, and there's no point in making people fear you if you're a cop, or respect you, yes, but not fear you. It's a different thing altogether. Respect the law, respect the codes. So I've built a lot of stuff without building inspectors because they have been a pain in my ass, and I've weighed things out and said, well, this does not really need to be. Like one time we were building our first house, and this builder says everything was $5,000.
$9,000. Everything was $9,000.
No, everything extra was $4,000, I thought, or $5,000.
No, it was $9,000. It was like,
it was ridiculous.
Your ceiling's 1 foot higher. It's going to be $9,000.
This is 25 years ago, right? And we're building
ceilings,
we're building $1.25, right?
Instead of popcorn, it's $900.
Flat, smooth ceiling instead of popcorn.
How much what?
How much was that house?
150.
150. So
2,400 square
that's
feet.
significant when you start adding 5,000. You want
Oh,
the
yeah.
garden tub? That'll be $4,000.
Yeah.
So you say a lot of because they realize that people don't think of the money as real if it's the bank just paying for it. It's not real money.
Oh yeah, just add that on.
If you had cash in your pocket and the builder said that's $9,000 extra and you had to count out 9,000, you wouldn't pay it. You'd say, I'll take care of that down the road. Such is the case with the corner of the. Okay, so we built a slab home.
Yeah.
In the back corner of picture the very back corner of your square house. It was a 2-story house, and on that model they were inverting that corner and making a little pads to give people a patio.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, that's really dumb. I can build a patio later.
Yeah.
I want that square footage. I want my house to be a full 2,400 square feet, and I want a kitchen nook there, because there's a kitchen, and there's hardly any area, and then there's these inverted walls,
Yeah.
and you got the pad there anyway,
Yeah.
but it's a little lower, right? So I said, just build it out for us, and they said, okay, no problem, 9,000. I said, wait, no. I'm just saying, I don't want those walls in like this. I want them cornered out.
It's the same.
You still got to do the
amount
vinyl on the outside.
yeah.
It's 2 windows, a window here and a window here.
It's a little bit more linoleum for the floor on the inside.
Same material. How about I give you $100 for some? How about I give you $200 for $20 worth of linoleum? Nope. To build it like this, $9,000 extra to build it like this. That's what you get. And they knew that a lot of people would cough up that $9,000. And so let me just tell you, the one expense was the concrete slab was here, and you have to have a step down to go out of a sliding door in this case, so rain doesn't come in your house. So I had to contract for concrete. I had the concrete brought in wheelbarrows because there was not enough room by this time to get the truck in the backyard.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous, and it cost me less than $1,000. I framed it. I even used some wood I had laying around to frame out and take the windows out and put them on the. It was a big pain in the ass, and I didn't. The point is, I didn't call an inspector to add to my misery because the house was already built. And I know how to build walls. I had worked in construction.
It's not like you could get in trouble doing that.
Yeah, and I had to change the wiring and reroute it, and it was a big pain in the butt. But for stuff like that, I didn't call building inspectors. I've built additions where I had framers come in the past on houses we had bought and wanted to upgrade. Didn't call inspectors for just a couple of small additions,
Mm-hmm.
and again where you had structure already there, but you're adding something.
Right.
What was another anecdote was Burbank.
What are we doing? Oh,
Yeah, we were a young couple,
inspector.
and we had a newborn. This is when inspectors work for you, and I'm not proud of this story, but I'm not ashamed of it either.
I was proud of it.
This is you. If you live long enough, you see things and may have approached things from all the various angles. Sometimes you may have had an inspector called on you. Sometimes you may have had to call the inspector. It doesn't work in every state, but here's what happened. And I don't want to encourage anybody to do anything malicious. But
well, this was not malicious.
yeah, we were
on
living.
our part at all.
We were a young couple,
Yeah.
just had a baby.
We were
We've
early 20s.
we've always been good about being, taking care of people, respecting other people's property,
Making it better.
and paying our bills. And Farm Girl always says that I always make places better because
Always.
I'm a handy guy and I like
Yep.
to live in a comfortable place, and
Yep.
I like it to be efficient, and I add things.
And safe for the kids.
So anyway,
Yeah.
this place, same thing. We moved into this little bungalow in Burbank, California, and it was $850 a month.
Mm-hmm.
And the house was about a 80-year-old house. This was 30 years ago, right?
It was cute.
And it was cute. A cute little bungalow on the corner of Angelino and 6th, I don't know, in Burbank. And right off of Olive. And so the problem was with this old house, people they had rented to over the many years were pouring grease down the drain. And they knew this because we moved in and quickly experienced the problems that obviously people had been having down, historically. What it is if you put grease down a drain for years and years and years, and bad renters will do this. They cook some bacon, and they don't want to take time to find a receptacle for baking grease. They let it cool a little bit, and they pour it down the drain, or they just pour it down the drain. So over the years, where your line goes out to the street and your 4-ounce line meets through that line, it gets like an artery of a guy, eating 40 years of Big Macs and fries, right? And so it chokes off the drain. And first time they had a plumber come out, and the plumber said to me, he went and he had to open the manhole out I saw him, I watched him. He said, man, you would not believe how much grease. He said, there's 40 years. He said, I've done this for a long 40 years of grease in that drain. He said, it's that thick all the way around.
It must have smelled
where it comes,
so bad.
where he said, where he could see it coming out into the main. He said, it's ridiculous. He said, I don't know how you're getting anything through there. And then it happened. It just, we kept happening. He said, I can get you a temporary fix. He did it. Happened again. I called the landlady. Now, mind you, this is a woman who doesn't owe a nickel on this house. She lives in a really nice neighborhood up in the hills above us in Burbank. And her sons are handyman. And she says, are you not, if you're not happy living there, you need to move. And I said, are you kidding me? You want to disrupt my life because you're not taking care of your house? I said this to her. She said, don't you talk to me like that. This is someone we were friendly with up until then.
Yeah.
I said, I'm really shocked. And I was young, but I was learning to confront a-holes like this. And I said, I'm shocked that this is downright abusive of you. This is your problem that you haven't taken care of. And I just talked to a guy that confirmed that it's not only your problem, but it's a big problem, and you've been band-aiding it, and so now you're making it my problem, and you're telling me to uproot my family with my newborn, and because you don't. I was furious, and she put the pressure on me. She got really mad, and she said, if you're not happy, you need to get out of my home. Because she didn't want to pay the plumber to do the job right. So I was
it was a huge job.
Livid. She was to the point where she was kicking us out, basically. I called the building inspector. I said, what can we do about this? And they had a guy call me. He said, I can come over there and look at it. I said, all right, I'm kind of desperate. Come on. And he came and he looked at this house. He said, I could condemn this house right now.
Right, for the wiring that he saw on his way in.
He said, there's wire hanging. I did a wiring job recently, and people were like, you can't do that, man. I said, come on, I've had raw wiring hanging in houses before.
Yeah.
And I've seen worse than that. When I was a kid growing up, some of it, you could see the wire,
you could see the sparks coming off of it.
The fabric insulation had come off, and it was going to ceramics and then to the next ceramic or whatever you call it. Anyway, he said, I could condemn this house right now, legitimately, legally. It's a condemnable house. I said, please don't do that.
Yeah, really.
Talk about the law of unintended consequences. That's what I'm trying to avoid, is having to just uproot my family. He said, well, I can talk to her, you can talk to her, but I'm going to write here. In a lot of states, it's not that way. My daughter just lived in a house, and I said, we need to call the building inspector because her bathtub was backing up with sewage water. Her bathroom was filled, and the landlord wasn't doing anything about it. And it ruined a lot of her stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And she was upset, but he was a slumlord. It was I wanted to go down there.
Just left it for weeks.
And give that guy some street justice. He was a slumlord. This was in a complex, ground level with a patio with beautiful place. But he had trees growing into the plumbing, and he another situation just like this. But in North Carolina, it was like, well, we're not as harsh on landlords here, and you'd have to sue them and try to go to court, and building inspectors wouldn't do anything. Anyway, that's basically it.
So then she was forced to do the job. And it was a major job.
Yeah.
It was like they had to go under the house and dig up the cellar.
I watched her son out there, Yeah, he was digging. He went in the cellar, and out west you can have cellars and stuff. You
And
want some
it
of
was
this?
there was no floor down there. It was just
Dirt. Yeah.
And ooh, they had to dig all that up and replace all the plumbing. And,
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, thank you.
So the moral of the story is, just remember, building inspectors, cops, movie stars, they're all humans. Some are good,
Yeah.
some are bad, just like
Yeah.
just like
everybody
aerobics instructors. They're people. So
They're all good.
building inspectors, be genuine, be good people. Homeowners, be careful. God bless you all. Tell us what you think in the comments. Give us some of your experiences and stories, and we'll talk soon.
Mwah.
Thanks for
Thanks for
watching.
watching.